Notice of Noncompliance with Paperwork Reduction Act of 1995. This document serves as a formal legal notice asserting noncompliance with the Paperwork Reduction Act of 1995, PRA, and challenging the validity of any federal information request lacking proper authorization. It outlines the legal requirements of the PRA, immediate corrective actions, and potential legal consequences for continued noncompliance. This notice ensures that any unlawful information collection is challenged and rendered unenforceable under federal law. Your name or organization. Your address. City, state, zip code. Email address. Phone number. Date. 2. Recipient's name or organization. Recipient's address. City, state, zip code. Subject. Formal notice of noncompliance with the Paperwork Reduction Act of 1995. Dear, recipient's name. Legal basis for this notice. This letter serves as formal notification that the undersigned asserts a notice of noncompliance regarding violations of the Paperwork Reduction Act of 1995, PRA, 44 U.S. C. Sections 3501 to 3521. This act was enacted to reduce the burden of federal information collection requirements on individuals and entities and ensure that agencies comply with proper procedural and statutory mandates before requesting or requiring information. Any failure to adhere to these legal requirements may render any request for information or imposed obligation legally unenforceable. 1. Requirement for OMB control number. Under the PRA, no federal agency may enforce an information collection requirement without a valid Office of Management and Budget, OMB, control number. 2. Public Protection Clause. Pursuant to 44 U.S. C. Section 3512, individuals are not required to respond to or comply with any request for information that does not display a valid OMB control number. 3. Agency compliance and burden reduction. Federal agencies must demonstrate necessity, minimize compliance burdens, and ensure transparency before collecting information from the public. 4. Legal invalidity of non-compliant requests. Any demands for information, documentation, or compliance that fail to meet PRA standards are legally unenforceable and may be subject to legal challenge. Immediate required actions. 1. Provide proof of compliance. The recipient must submit verifiable proof of an OMB control number for any request made under the authority of the PRA. 2. Cease and desist from non-compliant information collection. Any ongoing requests that do not adhere to the PRA must be immediately withdrawn. 3. Acknowledge the Public Protection Clause. The recipient must recognize that failure to comply with PRA requirements renders any request unenforceable under federal law. Legal consequences for noncompliance. Failure to adhere to the Paperwork Reduction Act of 1995 may result in legal invalidation of information requests. Any enforcement actions based on non-compliant requests may be deemed legally void. Regulatory and administrative penalties. Federal agencies and officials may face legal or administrative consequences for violating PRA mandates. Public and legal scrutiny. Non-compliance with the PRA may result in legal challenges, reputational damage, and regulatory intervention. This notice serves as official documentation that the undersigned challenges the legal validity of any information request that fails to comply with the Paperwork Reduction Act of 1995. Any continued demand for compliance without proper PRA adherence shall be subject to legal rebuttal and administrative action. A response addressing this matter is expected no later than specific date. If further clarification is required, you may contact me at your contact information. Sincerely. Your name. Your position, if applicable. Your organization name, if applicable. Enclosures, list any attached documents,